Yeah, Libido was a group. I mean, we had it all really. We had the look, we had the hair, we had the, world domination desire. We had the only thing we didn't really have was any kind of musical ability and not talent. So like if we were good at music or we could play instruments properly or we were in tune, I think we would have gone a long way, to be honest with you. But
what instrument did you play?
yeah, we were. Oh, God, no, I wasn't. No, I was the
You're the
lead singer.
front man?
I was the lead singer, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm the most
man.
out of tune person you'd ever meet. But I had everything. I had that whole rock star thing going. I was like Bono without the voice, if you know what I mean.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah. So like Bono now.
Bono might be listening, and he was like, that was a hard diss, John Gunning.
Throwing shade all around the place in the hopes that it'll go viral.
Are there recordings of Libido anywhere around?
Yes, there are. Yes, there are.
So if we
I
could get
searched, I could not find it online.
I mean, would you be able to?
No, it's not online.
You would be able to get us, maybe just a
I
clip
would,
we
but
could possibly play it.
No intention of doing that, I'm saving it as blackmail material for my bandmates, if any of them ever becomes famous, I'll threaten to release it.
That band title must have been such a chick magnet.
You would think, but sadly, no.
Oh, I found it.
You found the
I
picture?
did see that picture. Yeah, you look very.
Yeah, Michael Hutchins is
in excess.
Well, and
that's
I
totally what it looks like.
It does have a parental advisory on it. So
yeah,
for all of our listeners.
Well, no, that was anyway. God, it was a dark chapter of the history,
Well, that's what this interview is all about. Is just unpeel this onion of John Gunning, and we had to go there. We had to go there to get to the real you. Yeah. As far as karaoke songs that you crush it at, what's your number one karaoke song?
I like to do a death metal version of "Hit Me One More Time" by Britney Spears. just for the shock value, because to be honest with you, even though I was a lead singer, it was all about front. There's nothing here. Like there's no musical ability, so I can't sing, but I can make a loud noise, and if I do it in a death metal-y type thing, and especially if it's Britney Spears, because when you put it on, nobody ever expects it to come out like that. So for shock value. Yeah, for shock value, it's a party piece for sure,
I bet that brings down the house.
I would pay
What's
to see
your
that.
go-to?
I would pay to see that.
I would too. By the way,
now that you've said that, you're not going to get to see it, because if somebody will pay for it, I'm definitely going to monetize that.
Well, didn't we get a pass? Like Konishki said he would do karaoke with us.
But Konishki can sing and he has talent, so you can't. That's a totally different thing.
If we got to
the guy who's actually released albums and
That is true.
So were you a poet at about the same time as Libido, or was that before?
Did you think we weren't going to look into all this? Of course we looked into your poet history.
That's the worst part of having a Twitter account. People read it.
Yeah, people do.
It must be a diary. People are not supposed to read the tweets, Yeah, poetry and songwriting and all that stuff. And the most cliched teen angst-ridden poetry you could possibly imagine. If you doubled it, that was me. Like I said earlier to Tony, I was a goth, cure head, the whole lot. So I mean, if you take words like raven, dark, rain, cave and stuff like that and just threw them into a computer program and mixed them up, you'd probably get most of the songs that I wrote.
Please tell me you were wearing eyeliner.
I wore eyeliner. I had piercings.
What was your go-to color? Did you go black?
Black.
Okay.
There were only two colors that were really acceptable in the 80s. They were like black and deep purple, maybe, was okay. But
of course.
For me, it was black and like all whites, the high top basketball shoes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Because Robert Smith look, unlaced, which led to, several accidents, but you had to do these things. And everything was black. I was black. It was like
probably set your blue eyes off very well. I know that as a woman who wears black eyeliner.
Yeah, I couldn't get black contacts in those days for sure. They just weren't available. So the black eyeliner was the only thing. I used to do the eyeliner when it would come out at the edge, and then I would do the Celtic 3-swirl knot.
What? I never knew this was a thing.
When I was 14, I pierced both ears, and I was wearing.
Wait, by yourself? Did you do it?
No, I went to Dublin secretly and got somebody to do it because there was nobody obviously where I lived. And I got, I think it was my mother or my grandmother's, like these long gold leaf earrings, and I
Yes.
wore them into school and I refused to take them off. And then I was like, I was getting sent to the principal's office every single day because I would refuse to not wear makeup or earrings, you know. And it was like 1970s, 80s rural Ireland, you know. But the more they told me to do it, like the more they told me not to do it, the more I did.
Of
So in
course.
the end, like, you know, they stopped telling me not to do it.
And then you just grew out of the face.
Uh, I evolved like Madonna. I kept changing, and you know, to stay relevant.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Of
As
course.
you do, as you do.
I mean, there isn't a hair color I haven't had. There isn't a fashion trend or a, you know, uh, basically anything that was kind of in at a certain time, I was probably part of that. You know,
I think we all make mistakes.
I wasn't a mistake.
No,
Wasn't a mistake. Are you calling me? Hold
I
on
beg
a second
pardon. I
here now.
apologize. I
Hold
apologize.
on a second here
I
now.
apologize.
Let's not go that far.
I'm still dying to know what happened in between libido and moving to Japan.
Oh yeah,
Because that's a pretty big leap.
That's a long time though.
yeah. But you were in America. You
You-
were in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I lived in New Hampshire for a year. I worked in a rehabilitation center and brain trauma injury unit. I'm working, I personally, I mostly worked with kids who had rare disabilities. Like there was only say 2 or 3 kids in the world that had a certain problem, and young kids, maybe age 3 up to 15. So that was what I was doing there. So I was working in the States, but I was also in college at the same time. So I was full-time working and I was also a full-time student. So I mean, the lucky thing about me in terms of stuff like that is I only sleep 2 hours a night anyways. So I'm,
Oh, wait,
you know,
come
stuff
come
like that
again?
is, yeah,
Come
2,
again?
3 hours a night is, it's always been, I've never needed sleep. Um, so I don't know. It's just like, you know, like other great people like Napoleon and Margaret Thatcher and, you know,
Einstein.
I have a
all
friend like that.
I
He
don't know.
just has never
But
slept more than 3 hours.
So I was, yeah, I was in college. I was actually a university student at the time. So I spent a year in the States at a university there, but I was also working full time for this rehabilitation center with kids. And actually, while I was in college in Keene State, which was a college in New Hampshire, Robin Williams filmed Jumanji, and TriStar Pictures came in, and I was in an acting class in the university there, and I won a role as like this tiny minor role, or as like maybe an extra or like a one line speaking role, but I couldn't do it because I was working, so I missed out on Jumanji.
Oh, I thought you were about to tell me
You
that
were
we
in
could
Jumanji.
find you in
I
Jumanji.
missed out on all these great films. Like, so Braveheart, when they filmed Braveheart, all the guys behind Mel Gibson are my unit in the Irish Reserve Army. So before they filmed Braveheart, they asked us, do we want to be part of this movie in the summer? You know, we were in, when we were on camp in the military. So they said, oh, you know, once this camp is over, like there's an extra 2 or 3 weeks of this movie is being made and you can get paid this much money. And I think I had like a new girlfriend or something at the time, or I just didn't want to, like, I didn't want to give up my free time. And I was like, oh, fuck that. I'm not movie to hell. And then,
She
like,
must
you
have
know,
been really great. This
I can't even
girlfriend.
remember her name at this stage, to be honest. I think it was like a 1 week thing. And then like
Oh,
a year later, or
should
2
have
years
done
later,
Braveheart.
whenever it was, I was in the States. I remember like when Braveheart came out, and I was like, oh, all the guys behind Mel Gibson, I recognized them. And I was like,
So is Braveheart like really hard for you to watch now? Because you're like, that was my missed opportunity.
no.
Do you
I
remember
didn't.
what line it was in Jumanji? Like if we go back
Oh
and watch
God,
Jumanji,
no,
it's like
no.
that guy's line.
I think it was more like an ah or something like that. You know, it was just like calling it a line now might be a bit of a stretch. You know, it was more of a scream. I think really. You know?
Okay. So,
Terrified person in mall number 1 or something like that.
so you had several close misses in Hollywood, it
Yeah,
sounds
but
like.
I'm still hopeful because you know you got
Yeah.
people like Fassbender and people like that from our rural Ireland who are making it. So why can't I? You know?
Yeah, you've got the voice. Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
You've
don't
got
speak
the looks
German.
too.
Well, you know, that's probably true. That's probably true. You know? In my own head, that's true. That's always been true. So you know.
So you've got some time in school, you've got the Hollywood misses, and you've got some military time there or reserve
Yes,
time.
You did everything.
and working with kids with autism and different things in different countries. So you know.
And then somehow, boom, you're in Japan.
I was in Japan for 2 weeks and I didn't want to leave. But like as soon while I was here, I said, right, no, I'm definitely moving here.
Why?
So
That's what I'm curious about. Like, what was it about Japan that just really hooked you?
oh, it's a cliche thing, everything is so similar but so different, and everything is new. And I'm always like, you can probably see, like, for all the different stuff I do, so I love new things, new experiences, new people. um Anything new or different, something that I haven't done, is always very, very attractive. And so this was like nowhere I'd never ever been before, even though I'd like traveled around lots of countries and lived in different places, but this was definitely something different. And I just loved it. I loved everything about it. And just, yeah, while I was here, I decided I'm going to move here. As soon as I went back, like literally the day after I came back, I quit my job, sold anything I had, and then just started like job hunting in Japan. But because I spoke 4 words of Japanese at the time. I had no connections in the country. I didn't know anything about Japan. So like, you're limited. Like, what can you do? And at that time I was again working with kids with autism, but you can't just walk into that kind of job in Japan. They're all kind of different licensing systems. And but for me as well, when I was younger, I tended to change the field that I worked in every 2 years or 3 years, just to keep it fresh. So um I had been working in that area again for about 2 years, so I wanted to do something different. Teaching English obviously was one of the only options for Japan, but I'd never thought, but I was like, why not give that a go? So the way I see it is, with teaching English in Japan, it's like being a waiter in Hollywood. It's like every waiter you meet in Hollywood or in Los Angeles, they're an aspiring actor or director or writer or something. So it's like that. Every English teacher in Japan is they're here because either they love anime or they're fans of some martial art or something, like, they just, like, for a lot of people it's like they want to get to Japan, and teaching is the easy way in because everything is set up for you at the beginning. So it was the same for me at the beginning. Like, the company sets you up with housing, with a salary, and like, if you can't speak or read the language, you're not going to be able to do all the paperwork needed. So it was an in. I used the same in that thousands of people have before me and since. And yeah, I was in Osaka. So Kansai was my first 3 years there, and then up to Tokyo working with a company up here.
In Osaka, that's where you saw your first sumo tournament, right? Or what was that experience like, seeing sumo for the first time?
Yeah, so this is something I probably said in countless interviews, but I came here, the internet, broadband internet was just like starting up in Japan. It was it was still dial up in a lot of other countries. So TV was still the main medium for, getting your entertainment. So without having the language, sumo is like one of the only things you can understand on TV. And like everyone, it's you have the fat guys in diapers. You think that's what it is, and then you see it, and see it's incredibly athletic, basically offensive linemen from the NFL, without all the padding, and they're just, cracking heads and beating each other up, and it's the pageantry and everything. So it's really addictive. And then when you go to your first tournament, so I was in Osaka, and the Osaka tournament came, and once you're there, it's like the sights and the smells and the rickshaw walking past you, and it just absolutely hooked. I tried to say one time on NHK that it's like cocaine or it's like heroin or something, but they wouldn't let me say that. So
But you can say that here
You can.
I can say that here.
Anything
I'm not
goes.
saying that I've tried cocaine or heroin.
in your goth days. No, I'm sure not.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, from what I've heard,
Yes.
sumo has an addictive quality that would be similar to class A drugs. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you, because when I was well, not about the hard drugs,
When you did cocaine,
but all the
in the
times I was
past?
doing coke, I would watch television and sumo would be on, and I would recognize like Konishiki, or I would recognize people. And of course, I think NHK or whatever the network was at the time, I was watching that. And if sumo was on, I was watching that. So I went to tournament, but the same thing. It's like when you don't have a grasp of the language, you just kind of hold on to whatever you can that's on TV, that's in your native language. So that's how I also came into the sport. That's all I was saying. And I did lots of coke, tons of coke. Still doing it. I'm on coke now. Anyway, my glasses are fogging up.
Okay. Yep.
It's one of the side effects. Absolutely one of the
Yep.
side effects.
So